You forgot your gutting pass. Hey, hot stuff. What's going on? Kevin Goatee here, gutting the sacred cow. Well, another childhood film is about to fall. The Blockbuster Mentality boys have returned, and they want to do Batman 1989. That's right. The reason all these superhero films are here is now in the crosshairs of those two gutters. Before we get to it, make sure you go to guttingthesacredcow.com to get some cool merch. Make sure you go to guttingthesacredcow at gmail.com to advertise, and why not go visit us on the metaverse at the Joke Comedy Club and give us a whirl. Oh, and tell your friends about us. That really does help. And the 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review, never misses. And without further delay, let's see if the Blockbuster Mentality boys can really go out there and take down Batman 1989. Rock stars have kidnapped my son. Kevin Israel named that film.
No idea.
Ben and Dave join us from Blockbuster Mentality. Boys, do you have any idea what quote that film is from?
Is it Detroit Rock City?
I like where your head is, but it's not that.
Okay.
Spinal Tap.
No,
I like where your head is.
Spinal Tap.
Not that either. Answer is
Airheads?
almost no. I wish that's been on cable nonstop, and boy, do I get sucked in. The answer is Almost Famous. I thought that was a relative easy one.
Man, no, I haven't. Francis
Jesus,
McDormand.
I haven't seen
Did
that
you
movie.
say that?
Yeah, Detroit Rock City, good one. Because I saw that too. It's very similar because I know Kiss Shanghai's. What's his face? And I think that was the last time we all saw Edward Furlong, except for his AA counselor. Kevin Goatee, Kevin Israel are back with the Blockbuster Mentality boys, Ben and Dave. Fellas, what's going on? How you been?
Terrific. Thanks so much for having us back on. Looking forward to this chat we're gonna have.
Yeah.
Going to be on one of the best podcasts out there.
Well,
great.
you look
Love
at her.
interacting with you guys.
If you love sucking our assholes,
That won't help you
the,
get the gutting.
if you love sucking our assholes, you come to the right place because that's exactly how to do it.
I'm ready to bury my head.
Yeah, it is now officially a fraternity party. Anywho's, the boys of the first selection, I love their first choice. Kevin Israel fucking hated them for selecting Ghostbusters. This time, I think an equally, what a kick to the balls of men our ages, Kevin Israel, and ladies, and that is Batman 1989. Oh, the Gen Xers are fucking furious, including one Bill Schultz. And as Gen Xers, well, where do we stand? You'll find out. A budget at the time of $48 million. A box office haul of $411.6 million. Turn that into 2022 money. $111 million budget. $950.9 million haul. Kevin Israel.
Whew.
Thoughts?
MCU money.
Mm-hmm. This is the reason the MCU is here.
Yeah.
IMDb. I would, if this bombed, would you think that they have the balls to go out and make Blade or Meteor Man or Shazam?
Meteor Man.
Right. Yeah. We wouldn't have had Batman Returns, and which in turn
Forever and
But all those shit movies kept making money.
a lot of money.
Yeah, I think X-Men and Spider-Man, I think they still would have pulled the trigger at some point. Maybe not that soon, you know.
I don't. You know what? I have to. I hate to do it, but I have to agree with KG. I think the studios wouldn't have seen the investment. I think they. I think this was like the toe in the water, and and once they saw that even shitty superhero movies were making money, they were like, let's. And that's why. And look, they started with Blade. Blade was a shot in the dark, no pun intended. But nobody knew what Blade was.
And that was the catalyst. That's the film before X-Men that got it all going. There was no X-Men if it wasn't for Blade. That's for sure.
Yep.
IMDb, as we all know, is a scale 1 through 10 with decimal points. I love it. We got 3 guys, so we got 3 categories. Let's start with Ben. Ben, what do you think? And we'll start, and then everybody else can answer after that. What do you think Batman got on the old IMDb?
IMDb, they are they're nostalgic. I'm gonna go 7.2.
Dave.
I'll do the penny and say 7.3.
Kevin Israel.
8.8.
7.5.
Oh, wow.
Wow, the penny worked for you, Dave.
He $1 you.
Yep.
Let's go
Wow.
to Dave. Rotten Tomatoes critics score 1 through 100 percentage points. You know how it's played. What did the critics give Batman?
I'll say 77.
I'm gonna go to my top left, Kevin Israel.
70 flat.
70 flat. Ben.
I want to say critics were a little bit more blown away by this. I'm going to go 84.
72.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That. Well, what did you two say?
That's
I
70.
said 77, I think. And
Okay.
Israel gets that one. Israel, for you,
Nice.
the first one, buddy. How about
Good
the
job.
audience score for Batman? Audience score.
I feel like this has got to be high. I'm going to go 89.
89. Ben.
So 7.5 for IMDb. I'm going to go 92.
Ooh.
Dave.
I agree with KI, but not as much as Ben. I'll say 84.
One of you has won both showcases and gets $100 out of Bob Barker's pocket and then gets a kiss. And that person who gets a smooch from that son of a bitch who would slap girls in the ass with that long-ass microphone is Dave, 84% on the
Wow.
nose.
Oh, man.
job.
Well
done.
done.
Give it to me, Barker.
Wait, speaking of which,
And now I get to play punch board.
on topic and off topic. Did he ever die?
No, he's still alive. I looked at this 2 nights ago. I looked up
Okay.
him. I looked up him to see if he's alive. He's still alive. Thank God.
Man.
Him and Richard Dawson, the only 2 game show hosts right now, going, boy, I'm so glad we were not around during Me Too. 'Cause, woo!
I would have been canceled after the 3rd show.
Quotes. I've chosen several off the beaten path because I know you did. I know you guys are gonna get the blatantly obvious ones. Decent people shouldn't live here. They'd be happier somewhere else. You look fine. I didn't ask. It's Japanese. How do you know? Because I bought it in Japan.
Yep.
This town needs an enema. And one of my favorites to point out when people put stuff in front of me, go crap, 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 crap. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. And another one that just should never ever wither away and die. Never rub another man's rhubarb.
That was mine.
I knew that was you. I knew that was you all over it. I knew
Never
it.
rub another man's rhubarb.
Kevin Israel, why don't you take the second leg of this 4-legged baton race?
I mean, the obvious one. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah.
Moonlight. And then there's a quote that I love that I've said and done to my friends. You are my number one guy.
That's one of my arguments.
Oh shit. Any more else, Kev, or no?
Yeah, I mean those are the,
Okay.
you took the rhubarb one, which I was really
I know.
looking forward to. Ruined it.
Dave, what do you
Really?
got?
Never hit a guy with glasses.
All right.
That actually, having kids, that always reminds me of Wreck-It Ralph. There's a joke in there now that reminds me of Wreck-It Ralph instead of Batman. So
I love Wreck-It Ralph, so go right ahead.
mine, the pen is always mightier than the sword. You know that. That's my line.
I had one other that I had written down.
Please.
I'm of a mind to make some mookie.
That was beauty.
Yeah,
Beauty. Beauty.
some mookie.
As we all know, this film, five fun facts. As we all know, this movie cleared the way for Michael Keaton. Do you guys want to take a guess who their number one selection was for Batman? Give you a hint.
I used to know this. I
Okay.
know once I hear it,
Yeah.
it'll be like that. But yeah, what's the hint?
The hint is he didn't come on until really the 90s. I'll give you another hint. This is more for Kevin Israel. He's a Jersey guy.
Bruce Willis?
No, but good guess. Fellas?
I mean, I know it's not him, but I just have Nicolas Cage running through my head because he was supposed to do. Tim Burton was supposed to do a
Yep.
Superman
Yeah.
movie with him.
Right.
But, I have no clue.
Ray Liotta.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Oh, this would be an easier episode if it was Ray Liotta.
Yes. I just picture him better as a Joker with that laugh of his.
Wait till I get to that part.
But you know what though? I bet if it was originally Ray Liotta, there wouldn't have been as big an out when they announced it was Keaton. People lost their fucking minds.
I know.
Yeah.
And I bet if it was Ray Liotta, it wouldn't have been. I mean, obviously, once the movie came out, people kind of ate their words. But I bet Ray Liotta wouldn't have gotten the backlash that Michael Keaton did.
Here's my question. I don't remember this. I mean, I was 12 when we both were 12. What caused more backlash? Keaton being Batman or Heath Ledger being the Joker?
I mean, maybe because it's more recent in memory, but I gotta say Heath Ledger being the Joker.
I lost my mind. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Then he goes in and turns the performance of 18 lifetimes.
Yeah.
So here we are.
And that's why I never jump to conclude. Like, I'll have a feeling at first about a casting, but then I always go back to that and realize, okay, most studios, they do it for a reason. So I always go back to that. But for me, I think Heath Ledger's the more backlash.
Yeah. What kind of an outrage machine was there in the late 80s? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If there was social media around back then, it would have been bonkers. But
there were a lot of letters to their local editor newspaper.
Right.
I will say this. I said this as a kid, and I'm going to say it as an adult. You know who would have been a great Batman? Alec Baldwin.
Yes. Well, he did the Shadow.
I know, but this is before the Shadow. Shadow's 1990. I said that before. He would have been a monster Batman. He would have had Bruce Wayne to a fucking T. He probably would have been the best. He would have been the best Bruce Wayne.
I think he is Bruce Wayne.
I think, Bruce Wayne wise, I totally agree with that. The whole Ray Liotta thing, since this was before Goodfellas,
year before,
I don't know if it would have been as highly revered, like you were saying, just because that hadn't come out yet. But because I'm not sure what was he in before Goodfellas, I don't even know.
He was in a few. God damn, I should have looked this up.
Yeah, I mean,
small stuff. Yeah, nothing big. So then, so he said no because he was fearing it would be as goofy as a 60s TV show. He was also approached to play the Joker and Harvey Dent and said no to both as well.
Okay, interesting.
Right. So, fun fact number 2, on top of a not inconsiderable upfront fee of $6 million in 1989, a lot of money. Nicholson obviously took a cut of the film, the merchandising, and the sequel and the sequels, despite never playing the Joker or any other role in another Batman movie again. Now,
good agent is a stud.
Yeah. They estimate, and this is 1989 money, I should look this up, 50 to 60 million bucks that he got for this film. It's in 1989 money. So let's call it 2.5 times. So let's just call that, almost between fucking 125 and damn near 160, 170.
That's ridiculous.
That's Lakers floor seats till 2179.
Is he still sitting on the floor?
I'm sure he's propped up, but probably yes. Like Bernie, like Weekend at Bernie's.
I mean, if you go by inflation, is that the highest ever?
But it was spread out over multiple movies, though, right?
And merchandising too. Yeah.
That's even better. You just keep getting checks for not
mailbox. Doing voiceover. There's nothing better than mailbox money. Going, oh, look at this, 2000 for a job I did a year and a half ago. Sweet. Number 3. Do you know who was originally supposed to be Vicki Vale? Give you a hint. Big. I don't want to say big, not large, but decent size in the 80s. A little bit in the 90s, and is nowhere to be found now except bouncing off the rubber room wall somewhere in a mental ward, I think. Allegedly. That's what I'm sued.
First thing that came to mind, but then you said the whole crazy thing. Heather Locklear. I don't know.
Oh, my dick wouldn't be the same. Actually, between Kim Basinger, it still wasn't. Any other guesses?
What happened to it?
You got a guess, Dave?
Peyronie's disease. No, I'm just kidding.
Which one's that? Is that the
where your dick zigzag, your dick curves quickly?
That's good. It's good that we know this stuff.
You never know what'll come up,
Picks or
Griffin.
It won't come up.
Not a bad guess, but no. Kevin Israel.
I got nothing.
Sean Young.
Oh.
Do you know why she didn't get it? Because she did get it, but she was practicing horse riding for a scene in the movie, which when a fall left her with a broken collarbone, ruling her out of shooting the movie, and there was no scene of Vicki Vale on a horse.
Crazy.
She's Ace Ventura, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
What was else? She was in the
Blade
Kevin
Runner.
Costner. Yeah, that exactly. And Kevin Costner.
Oh, she was in Stripes.
Yep. What was it? Kevin Costner was it? No Way Out? Am I thinking of that or Revenge? One of those two.
Yep, No Way Out.
That's it. I know it
She
was.
was in Wall Street. Oh, she was in a lot.
Mm-hmm. At one point,
I Kim Basinger was the better choice. But
much.
Yeah.
At one point, they were having the Joker was going to kill Knox with Smilex gas and kill Vicki Vale toward the end, leaving Batman desperate for justice, but did not.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been a little too dark for that point.
More than 50,000 letters of protest were sent to Warner Brothers offices. So there's your answer.
Wow.
The sounding board for what happened, demanding that that the choice be considered for Batman. Okay, 3 more people besides Leota were considered for this. One name huge in the 80s, huge in the 90s. One name 80s, 90s, 2000s still pretty big. One name pretty much 80s for Batman.
Tom Cruise.
No, but that would have been fun.
Well, because you said kind of still big now. So.
Yeah, I would have said megastar still now because Tom Cruise is
Yeah,
still.
that's true. Yeah.
Tom Cruise had to fight the Joker while standing on 3 apple boxes. Just want to point that out.
I mean, it was Stallone or Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stallone, but
No.
I couldn't even swallow saying it.
Crocodile Dundee guy.
Fucking Paul Hogan.
Yeah.
That's not Smilex. This is Smilex. Kevin Costner,
Oh, okay, that
Okay,
makes sense.
I can
Yeah.
see that.
Dennis
I actually could
Quaid.
see that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Dennis Quaid.
Okay, I can see that too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Charlie Sheen.
Oh,
I
God.
wish they made that movie.
Right.
That would have been
Charlie Sheen would have been huffing Smilex gas the entire time.
Oh man.
Now,
Yeah.
want to take a guess? The 2 actors who were in contention for the Joker. One name pretty big in the 80s and 90s. One name big until he died. I think one's.
or
What's that? Say that again.
died recently or
Pretty recently.
Okay.
I think one's a slam dunk. I'm holding the answer. I know, but I think one, if you thought about it, you could go, "Yep," and the other one, you're like, you never would guess the other one.
Dennis Hopper.
That's a good guess.
Wouldn't that be the fucking tits?
Yeah.
That's a good guess.
No, but no.
Okay. Yeah. That's. I don't know.
Any other guesses?
I got nothing.
The obvious one I thought was Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
Great.
To see.
I know he wanted to be something.
I think
Maybe it was another Joker, or the Riddler, or some. Yeah, he wanted to be some villain. I know.
I don't see it.
Before he passed.
I'm not buying it.
and the next one, James Woods.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Thank you for not doing that, Warner
He's a
Brothers.
really good actor, but I don't. Yeah, he's more like sarcasm than like. I don't know, theatric.
And now it's time for those lovely audience members we love and cherish and treasure the shit out of you guys to ask a gutter. So, boys, questions from the crowd. At Lord Snurts, Patreon member, by the way, thank you. For Batman 89, what kind of tactical genius relies on getting shot to gain an advantage for a fight?
Now I saw that question because I was included in the tweet. I'm trying to think how is it in an advantage? Is he talking about the beginning or?
Well, I think because he like generally plays possum.
I was just exactly going to say plays possum. That was exactly what the phrase I was going to use.
Yeah.
you
I'd
go.
like to know also what also level of how does someone hide a metal plate into their coat so deftly?
Ask Clint Eastwood in Back to the Future and
Oh, yeah,
Back to the Future.
well, that's what he calls himself.
Yeah.
And in a few
Yeah.
dollars more. Or which one was it that he did that? I don't know.
Good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, that one.
Yep.
Okay. At Zyphos, my question is, Where does he get those wonderful toys?
Which one, Batman or
Batman? Yeah,
okay.
Batman.
It's never explored.
Yeah. I mean, just he gets them from Lucius Fox that we first seen.
And then that's actually at Zyphos. He also went as a follow-up. He goes, it's a legit question because somebody should put that together because they're making things for Batman. There's no way he and Alfred are responsible for everything.
Especially
they're giving no indication that they just appear. All of it.
Yeah. I mean, even Joker's toys, I'll go into is there's no indication of it, and I think off-screen Lucius Fox is the only answer.
I got to tell you, 12-year-old Kevin never thought or cared where he got his shit from.
12-year-old,
just cool.
Me neither. Yeah, me neither.
And I think that's getting to probably what we're going to get to. But I also think about the toys. It's funny how every gadget or toy is basically a rock, paper, scissors, right? Like I come up with this ridiculous thing to shoot at you, and you just happen to like push something, and that's the defense. Like you would ever use that thing. You wouldn't think like, oh, I need this push thing out of my hand, or I need scissors for my bat vehicle, whatever it's called.
Or if you go back to the Adam West Batman's shark spray, shark
repellent, bat shark repellent.
Yeah, confounded, the batteries are dead. At Almighty Ray Cicanis, oh boy, I watched Batman '89 fairly recently and felt real cringy about it. Good choice.
Good fan.
Yeah. STST podcast, the aforementioned guys who do a fan-fucking-tastic job with our artwork. If not Jack Nicholson, who plays the Joker, and don't say Jim Carrey.
Oh, who would play him? Again, I'm going Dennis Hopper again.
That's a really good call.
Yeah,
sure is.
That time frame, like Dennis Hopper. Yeah, I'll go Dennis Hopper all the way. What about you? Got anyone, Dave?
I don't know. Like casting is so tough because just like you guys say, like Keaton or Ledger, you really don't know. I mean, there's a lot of times I see stuff and I'm just like, then you see it and it's okay. Or sometimes it's the opposite. So, I mean, does it have to be someone who's crazy? Not necessarily. It could have been like we didn't think of Ledger as being a maniac on screen, but he did it. So that's what kind of makes these questions so difficult.
This is a long-winded way for Dave to say Jim J. Bullock is a selection.
I would take Jim J. Bullock.
Timely reference, right? Okay. At Newark Knight for Batman, where does Keaton rank in your best of the Batman live action? So no saying Mask of the Phantasm. Where does Keaton rank? And he also wants to know, where does Pattinson rank?
Well, I mean, that's tough before we get into the movie. I don't want to give anything away, but I mean, I loved the new Batman, Pattinson, and I mean Christian Bale. I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. All three of those. So those three, I would go.
You forgot Adam West.
I don't count him. But if I had to count him, he'll be dead last.
Okay.
But yeah, I would probably go Bale, Pattinson, Ben Affleck, Keaton.
Wow. Okay.
I'd probably go. This, you guys probably hate this, but I guess I'd go Affleck, Bale, Pattinson, Keaton, Kilmer.
We forgot about him.
Clooney.
And Clooney.
Hey, Clooney.
And then Adam West.
Clooney was robbed with a terrible movie.
Thank you. I will defend him to the fucking death. Clooney was a great Batman. That film was so dog shit. He gets dragged down with an anchor around his neck. That film stunk. He was a good Batman.
I gotta say, Kilmer wasn't bad either. I think he
wasn't good either.
Especially, well, the movie wasn't good. Are you going off the movie? Or are you?
No, I'm putting him dead last in my rankings. I'm telling you right now. I think he sucked. I thought he was fucking terrible.
For me, he fit. I don't know. Like his stardom at that point in time was
stardom. What, The Saint got your dick hard? Is that what you're saying?
Movie.
Yeah, it's still hard. All right. So whatever. All right.
It wasn't that far off of Top Gun, was it?
It was fucking 9 years later. Yes, it was. 86 to 95. High school night.
Here we got old man Nicholson, 14 years off of Cuckoo's Nest. So
Fair. At Lord Snurts back again. That's right. That's another one. He goes, Batman 89 was my introduction to Prince. A decade or two later, it led to awkward moments with true fans.
In what way?
I don't know either. I just read them.
I mean, I had Prince in my notes. The whole Prince stuff is super, super cheesy. Did not fit this movie. Or did not
Prince
fit a
fans?
Batman movie. Yeah, are you guys Prince fans?
Not really. I respect the shit out of him, but
There's like a couple of songs of his that I really like, but
He's like sort of like, you'll ask like certain people and they will swear he's like the greatest genius musician like ever. And maybe I just haven't heard enough of it, but I don't get it.
I have one. Wait, I'm looking at my iTunes right now. I have one Prince song. So what does that tell you?
so do I. I have one. What's your one, Kev?
Let's Get Crazy, off the Purple Rain soundtrack. Let's Get Crazy. That's it. Yeah, I'm not.
And yours, Kevin?
7.
Oh, and the new Power Generation CD?
Yeah.
I got that from BMG for a penny, 12 for a penny, if you remember those days. And at Pedestrian, I guess my biggest question is, why isn't Junior Birdman a franchise yet?
Junior Birdman?
You know, the Birdman movie that Keaton did?
I think Dave might have called this overrated, but I love that movie.
Did this podcast.
Huh?
We did this on this podcast, Birdman.
Oh, did you?
Did you guys defend it, or were you agreeing?
Ambivalent. I liked it. I was gonna go die in the hill in its defense, but I also wasn't gonna sink its ship.
So there would be we want more of Birdman?
Yes. What is the question? Exactly?
He wants to know why there was a. I think it was more of a make a wish.
We're not disrespecting your audience right now. We're just curious.
At Pedestrian, you better have better questions next time you hear the fucking Blockbuster Mentality boys on again. No, I think it was like he wants to know. I guess it was obviously joking, but he wants to know like why hasn't there been a Birdman movie yet? Because
I mean, where's the sequel? You know, I mean, he's coming back as Batman in the Flash movie, I think. So, come back again,
It's like a bat, a bird, and a vulture, right?
He's still flying at the end of Birdman, so
that's true. He said,
"Don't get started. Don't get started. Let's not get into the."
All right. Well, actually, Kevin Israel, I think it is time to get started by letting the Blockbuster Mentality boys to gut the sacred cow.
You guys are good at that.
That's amazing.
It sounded good on my end.
It did too.
It's hard on Zoom, to totally sync it.
If there's any delay, but
well, you can edit. That's where editing comes in.
I barely edit the show. Trust me. I only insert the sound effects, and if somebody says something inflammatory, usually me, but then I delete that. or if they cut around guests who are boring, I have to edit them out too. Anyway.
Oh God, I can't see what we get edited out.
Yeah, try to avoid the edits.
25-minute episode, fellas. What does that tell you? All right, fellas, let's hear it. What do you got?
Where do you want to start, Dave?
I think maybe we start with. I'd like to start before we even get to the movie. Let's start with maybe Tim Burton, who is probably the most overrated actor, certainly of the time that he was in, late 80s, early 90s. And I can't tell you how many times I go, oh, from the spooky mind of Tim Burton. It's like, oh, give me a break with this guy already. And I think most people are there now. But back in the, I remember this time, we're certainly young, but I remember that whole thing with like the Tim Burton craze and his stupid hair. I think in general, he's just completely overrated. Now, we did say that this movie did well in the box office, but that does not make this a great movie. But I think first off, the first hit is on Tim Burton, and I think his like edgy style, like, wow, I can tilt the camera 45 degrees, isn't this spooky, guys, kind of a thing. That didn't work for me, and you could kind of feel it and it's just this last thing to hand it over to you, Ben, is this isn't very much a movie of its time. It simply does not hold up. I could see people liking it, back in the day, but on a rewatch, there's a lot of cringe here.
Yeah, there's this is him coming off of Pee-wee's Big Adventure in 85, I believe, and then Beetlejuice 88 was that, which also starred Michael Keaton. So like two very different movies together and two very different movies to Batman. So like for them to green light Tim Burton on a superhero comic book film is baffling to me. And yeah, I 100% agree. He is overrated. Yes, I loved Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Me too.
Yes,
but I was a moron child.
Sent you.
Yeah,
so great.
Well, I'm still a moron child, and I love it. But it had more to do with Pee-wee, the character, I think, than you know Tim Burton himself. But yeah,
I wanted to go over to Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Who didn't?
I don't know. I was gonna make a pedophile joke, but
mine was subtle.
He's not a pedophile, but my mind just went there. I'm weird.
On a list.
But yeah, Tim Burton totally overrated. 100% agree with you there, Dave. And I mean, again, it made money, so obviously it did something right, but I think that had to do with, hey, we have a Batman movie outside of Adam West that's supposed to be dark and, like you said, like the crazy mind and spooky mind, Tim Burton. And you know, what do we get? What do we get out of this film, Dave?
We get this like weird mashup of absurd and dark at the same time that I think never quite really gels, because where it's depicted within this dark, spooky Tim Burton world, but everything that happens inside of it is really stupid for the most part. The characters that inhabit it behaves strangely. And in fact, I will say this: the script does not really make a whole lot of sense. Like, I don't want to do this as a nitpick, but if this was a nitpick, Ben, we could probably spend like 2 hours on this show just walking through all the conversations that the characters have and the decisions they make. A lot of it just really doesn't follow any kind of clear logic. Like, I don't want to get into the nitpicking thing, but
yeah, no,
I think the whole theme is just disjointed. Like we were talking about the gags, they're dumb, they're silly. A lot of I don't know if there's really a good action scene in this, other than some of the stuff. I think like the flying and maybe the driving, that's okay, but the fights are terrible. The henchmen are the most. They cast the ugliest bunch of losers and then stuck to them in these like faux cop outfits. I don't get it. And we're saving the worst henchman for later, I think. You guys might guess who it might be. but yeah, I just think in general the tone of this movie, that's what it is. It's absurd to an absurd level. This doesn't operate in. I don't think it works in a comic book world, and it certainly doesn't. This world has no reality to it where I'm like, okay, this could work, kind of a thing.
I mean, yeah, speaking of the action, I mean, him, what do you think about the slow float in of him? For me, it's just like, what is it? Like, we know he's supposed to be bat-like and everything like that, but like this slow float in makes him just seem like a ghost or something. And
because they just didn't know what to do yet. And I think this is a beta test Batman movie. It is not a complete Batman movie. We had to wait till we got Christopher Nolan before we got a real Batman film that was something that actually worked in a plausible real world. Yes, it made a lot of money, but it wasn't ready to be a real Batman movie.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Now the Joker, I mean, that's the huge talking point of this movie, Nicholson's Joker, and everyone still compares and fights over Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson's Joker. To me, I think he is a very I don't see what the hype is all about with Jack Nicholson's Joker. I love him as an actor. I love him as an actor. But watching this again, even for the show, like I don't get it. It's too cartoonish, especially for the dark noir noir vibe they're going for.
Doesn't work.
And they put in this cartoonish, character and cartoonish bits all around, not even just him as a character. And then I know, you were saying, before the show just about him, the way he came about, his origin story. Like, he didn't seem like he was totally off the handle. He just wanted to kind of take over his boss.
No, it was just a function of the script. Okay, we need to get the Joker, so we'll just have this thing happen where he falls into a vat of chemical or something, and now he Joker. Now there he is.
No, he Joker. Yeah, and then he just happens to have the features of a clown.
Well, yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's has a smile. This acid or chemicals. That's what they give you. But yeah, like you said, it just is a plot device to just get us from point A to point B. It's just like, oh, well, he's the Joker now.
Yeah, would you think this movie would be better if they just showed us the Joker instead of the Jack Napier side story?
Yeah. I mean, again, the whole thing about the Joker, people have always said about the comics is he doesn't have a true origin story, and we don't really know what he's from. And I mean, I'm not one who's it's got to be accurate to the comics, it's got to be accurate to this. I just want a good movie.
Yeah, who cares
but I think this movie would have served itself better if he was more mysterious. Like, who is this guy jumping in? Who, like, what is his deal? Like, what is his motivation? Whereas him, like, he falls into vat of acid and now he laughs a lot. And
which is like the dumbest thing.
Obviously.
Yeah,
there is no world where you fall into a vat of anything and you just die. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Well, and then what does he get, like, drained into the swamp and then his hand sticks out? Like, I don't know what they were going for.
It's absurd. But I think
was that more of a Frankenstein it's alive kind of wink nod? That's what I got out of that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's alive.
Oh, it's alive and laughing.
What were you going to say, Dave?
Well, I think maybe to this movie is it's a fantastic cast doing the best they can with shitty setups, shitty scenes, and a shitty script, honestly. And with Tim Burton, what doesn't make his visuals are not what makes him overrated always. It's that he goes too far, and if his scripts aren't tight enough, then the movie's just dumb. And that was kind of the battle going on in this movie. It was, you have great actors. I mean, Nicholson is acting his ass off. He's giving you the very best performance he can possibly give. And yet I'm still like, oh my God, I feel embarrassed for him at times.
Yeah. It seems like he's just, I mean, we heard his payday earlier now. So it's like, you can understand, like, oh man, I'll just, go all for it. But to me, I just didn't buy it. The whole, what was the line, Ki? The hey you got, not hey you guys, but you're my number one guy. Like, that was just so overacting and over the top for me at that point. It was just like, what? Like, I don't.
In fairness, he was the character was supposed to be mimicking Jack Palance.
Right? Okay,
he was like doing an homage to that guy because he hated when he did that to him.
That makes that okay. I
there goes our argument, Israel. We're over.
We did not gut it. All right.
You know what? Something else is that I think Vicki Vale is a non-entity through most of this film. And in the beginning, they prop her up as this like courageous, strong woman. She goes into the battle zones to take these like daring pictures, and she's here to uncover a mystery. And she meets Bruce, falls in love with him one day, and then just becomes a pawn the rest of the movie without any kind of agency or really character development. And I think, Ben, we were chatting on this earlier, the way they get together, it's all weird. Like, is Bruce like a recluse that no one knows who he is, or is he really just the kind of guy, like he's a very famous billionaire, he's holding a benefit at his house? It would seem odd that they wouldn't know like who this like pretty famous celebrity guy is. They don't even know what he looks like. You're in his house, you don't know, you're a reporter.
Yeah, you're a reporter.
You should have an idea.
And neither reporter knew. What was it? Knox? Was that his name?
Yeah, the Robert Wool character, who I think he didn't even need to be in the movie.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, Vicki Vale, I mean, she's just kind of a nothing character. It's just like got to put a love interest in there, and then Yeah, because she like came like from like Cosmo magazine or something, I think they said.
And then Time, she's shooting out like a battle warfield. It's for all model shots, and then bang, let's drop her in the middle of a fucking war. And you know, there's no runways or pirouettes or fucking costume changes. It's AK-47s and mortar fire. That
blown up bodies. Here, could you move your elbow a little more to the left?
Ew, it smells like gangrene in here. So gross. Can I get a spritz?
And we don't get much out of Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Dent. They're just
no relationship there. I kind of like Billy D. Williams. The 3 lines that he said.
Yeah, 3 total lines. Yeah, that was great. They kept talking about the 200-year anniversary of Gotham, but we
got to get this celebration. It's gonna happen if it bankrupts the city. Hey.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's just, you know, the Joker to me is overrated. Michael Keaton, we haven't really talked about him much. What are our thoughts there, Dave?
I think it was the first one, and you never know. Each movie does every character very differently, and so maybe they're staying away from this first one. But I did kind of like the idea. He plays a very human Bruce Wayne, which I think was cool, and he is a little bit. He does keep to himself, and I think it's effective. I think and he does have this like pain of losing his parents. He's not a bad guy. He's very busy at night doing things, and he just kind of lives a lonely, slightly sad existence. But he's not. I did like that he's not brooding like we see with Pattinson, although you know he's a bit younger. We don't know, maybe not that much younger though. I mean, I don't know. You guys, you think how old is Batman in this movie?
I had this conversation with my daughter in the car, who's 6. Who wanted it because I let her watch. I let her watch this Batman. I let her watch the first 20-30 minutes of Dark Knight and go, and then we're done. That's yeah. She's also watched the animated Mask of the Phantasm. So and she saw. I took her to see Spider-Man No Way Home. So I'm putting her toe in. I'm not letting her watch the Nolan shit. Yeah, that's later.
Yeah.
So she asked this very question, and I said, so I think Pattinson is in his early to mid 30s. I think Keaton is in his late 30s, early 40s. I think Clooney is in his early to mid 40s. And Val Kilmer I stopped giving a shit about. So those are your answers. Bale, I think Bale's also like 37 to 42. And I guess
I got the impression that Pattinson was maybe 30, no older.
Yeah, I felt like Pattinson was late 20s, 30.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
sure. And Affleck is like mid 40s to
definitely.
Yeah.
He beats ass in that movie like fucking Arkham Asylum and PlayStation 4. So if he's 45, dude, that's amazing. He's yoked the fuck out of some kind of crystal meth.
Oh yeah, that's why he's my favorite Batman. And I think he does a good Bruce Wayne as well.
I know you want to stick on nitpicks, Dave, but one nitpick I do have is when towards the beginning, right before he falls in the acid, or I think it's right after he falls in the acid or chemicals, whatever you want to call it. Batman does the whole smoke thing to disappear, and it's clear as day where he's going. You see Commissioner Gordon go, and you
right there
and go up. It's like, what was the smoke for? Like,
and he's like looking around. Yeah, but I love the suit because he can't move his neck.
Yeah,
we see you crawling away, Batman.
I know, yeah.
No, you don't.
I think him aiming the grappling hook up is a dead giveaway, guy. There's no way it's a smoke pellet on that. When you leave the Joker in the museum, I'm with you because you can't see the direction. But then, well, whatever. Go ahead, boys. Sorry.
No, speaking of that, the whole museum and the parade, the cheesy 80s Prince music, him dancing through the museum, and just, it's just so cheesy to me. It's just so unnecessary. And
they're all dancing. You got to bring in the guy because we need, in Burton's mind, right? Okay, we need a scene. This will be really good. We need Nicholson to sing and do do some singing and like a choreographed dance routine with the other henchmen. I think this really will capitalize my like dark spooky theme. Adults will really love this, guys. So let's do that. And well, how do we get like? But if they're gonna dance, they have to dance to something. We'll have a guy bring in a boom box, and we'll push play, and that'll be our way of getting the music in. Boombox guy almost kills the movie, basically.
Right. Yeah.
This entire scene is so bad. I get this, like my skin crawls and I become embarrassed for what I'm watching. I feel uncomfortable. Like I have to turn the TV off because it's so freaking bad.
You have Jack Nicholson, Chinatown, Cuckoo's Nest, Five Easy Pieces.
This is Chinatown.
Easy Rider.
Well, at the end when they go, forget it, Jack, it's Chinatown. This is what they're talking about. You have to go and you have to do this scene. This is fucking Chinatown.
This is Chinatown. And yeah, so I mean, and one thing I do want to bring up is that, I know we all grew up on this film, and it might be our favorite film. There's movies I love that are my favorite that I know are bad movies. So you growing up on a film does not equal good movie. And also to the comics perspective, I'm not like a comics expert or anything, so I don't know if this one is faithful to, I don't think it is, just because Joker has an origin story, but something being faithful to the comics does not equal good movie.
100%.
And something being not faithful to the comics doesn't equal bad movie. So I wanted to bring that out too.
I think it's a great point. I mean, we have to let go of our nostalgia sometimes and look at it dispassionately. You know what? This movie was made for the 10-year-old you. This movie is not for the 30 to 40-year-old you. It's just not. This was a movie for kids in 1989. This is not a movie for adults in 2022. Sorry to say.
Someone just told everyone in this podcast that Santa Claus doesn't exist.
He does not.
Israel's just shaking his head. He's like, it's like playing Street Fighter 2 and he has the stars around his head. You can just finish him off with a four kick combo. He is dazed over there.
By the way, also worst Alfred, I think by a mile, right?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So in fairness, this Alfred harkened back to the TV show Alfred. It was only later, and I think in the comics, and then adopted in the movies, where Alfred became like he was once a mercenary, and he was a badass who was actually helping Bruce Wayne be a vigilante.
Yeah.
Is that more recent that Alfred was like that?
I think so. I think once, like, because when you're writing something for so long, they were something like, the fans like Alfred. We should probably do something with him.
No, let's have him do something other than serve tea and get water for people and just literally be the butler for the benefit dinner.
They did. They gave him cancer in Batman and Robin, and he miraculously worked his way out of it. If you remember that plot point.
Yes, thanks to Mr. Freeze giving the antidote.
Or he was just, or he, I don't know if it was cancer, or he was dying from embarrassment that Alicia Silverstone couldn't fit in her Batgirl costume because she's a bit hefty.
That's interesting point from KI, because now we're at the point where you get Andy Serkis where he looks like Alfred's like an ex-con.
Yeah, Alfred was in Peaky Blinders, guys. Did you miss that?
I know. Well, whose favorite Alfred go around the room in the movies?
I gotta think.
Mine's I gotta go Michael Caine. I mean, he wasn't like teacher, but that was the best relationship between Bruce Wayne and Alfred, was Michael Caine and Christian Bale.
And I feel like he was a good combination. He was a good combination of the two.
Yeah.
Like he felt like he might have actually been a butler, but he also told some stories, and it was like, oh, this guy has a backstory. This guy's seen some shit.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna get shit for this. I like the 60s Butler because he was so rigid and the perfect straight man to such campy horse shit. He was in on the joke and goes, right away, sir, the bat phone. Like, he was just selling the shit out of that nonsense, and I admire him for that.
Yeah.
Nice. I really like Jeremy Irons. I thought he was pretty good.
Too, yeah.
I forgot about him. Jesus Christ, Affleck.
Yeah. He kind of has he seems more like he's doing things all the time. He's working on stuff, and he does serve tea. I think a couple.
He was a little further into the I'm a badass and farther away from I'm a butler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm a badass who happens to do some butler stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I never.
Yeah. I'll go kill people, but then I'll dust your blinds.
Yeah, I know how to press a suit.
I never watched the Gotham show, but I guess that Alfred was like teaching Bruce Wayne like how to fight and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We're only one more film iteration away where Alfred is played by Vinnie Jones, and they both go out and curb stomp people.
I'd be okay with the Vinnie Jones Alfred, actually.
I would too. You would need fucking subtitles because that motherfucker is impossible to understand. But I would appreciate his.
You're fucking Batman. What you gonna do with yourself? We go get him. Where's Batman? You wrecked it.
Those.
Oh, there goes Dave.
No, he's just his camera. But yeah, I mean, those are our main points. I think. Dave, did you have more? Did we have more?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, like we said, I think we've laid out. I mean, the main points. I think. Did you mention? We mentioned. I'm sorry. As Napier being the one who killed Bruce Wayne's parents. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned that or not.
No,
but
you
to me,
did not.
That felt totally unnecessary. They were already enemies, and we didn't need to see that. We didn't need to add on more stuff.
Yeah, that it didn't even give him more motivation in the movie. Like it just was,
exactly.
At the very end, he said, "I'm going to kill you," but it
felt like they were making which I kind of understand, but you don't have to cram everything into one movie.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
To be fair, this was before, as we all said at the top of the podcast, the beginning of the superhero boon. So
yeah,
they go, we may not have another shot, so we better get all of our shit in right now.
Right.
Where now it's like if it's MCU, it's like, motherfucker, we can take 18 films to get this story out, so let's get it right.
Well, and also the whole thing with them not knowing Bruce Wayne, like the audience who might not have grew up with the Adam West thing back in '89 needs to know who Bruce Wayne is, needs to know that his parents died, at this place. So you got to establish all that, so that kind of stuff I get, you have to.
But plot wise, it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Absolutely.
And I felt like this movie isn't very long, but in a lot of spaces, it feels like it drags. I'm just waiting. Particularly even the climax of the movie, like when they're up in the belfry, I'm like, all right, just go. Like you got to get through.
Right.
You got to get through a couple of stupid henchmen and one guy who actually finally beats up Batman. But I don't understand how he threw Batman down the thing, and then Batman appears with his legs back up over the belfry and then flings him down. I'm still not sure how he got up, but we'll leave that aside.
Movie magic.
Yeah. I felt like there was just moments that were a bit too slow, and I don't know if it was like that gloomy tone or something, but I there was parts that I felt like it dragged. This movie, again, it's a movie very much of its time, the late 80s getting into the 90s. If you want to watch a 90s Batman movie, go watch the Pattinson Batman, because that's a better 90s Batman film.
Give us a number 1 to 10. That's ballsy, by the way.
Rating 1 to 10. I mean, yeah, so IMDb 7.5. I'd give this
it's not like it sucks, but it's way overrated and not as good as people remember it and revere it to this day.
Yeah, I would say 5.5.
I'll give it a 6.
All right, fair. You don't have to hate it, just find it overrated. And now to our resident comic book expert, I bow to my co-host Kevin Israel. Line them up, baby.
I actually didn't know you were, so I'm glad one of us is.
I was a comic book guy in my youth, and I wasn't a huge Batman guy.
Yeah.
What was your comic?
Wolverine. I was like on the Wolverine train back in the 80s.
Nice.
But one of my buddies was a big Batman fan, and so when this movie came out, and I remember them talking about Batman, and this was what happened to everybody that witnessed the marketing strategy behind this movie, because everybody was like, oh, like that Burt, whatever his name was.
Yeah, you're right.
TV show is ridiculous. And then so we saw that, or you saw the cartoons and him with like Scooby-Doo. Like Batman, if you didn't read the comic books, you really had like 3 sources of Batman.
You forgot the Justice League cartoon too.
Right, the cartoon.
All Justice, yeah.
Scooby-Doo's, and then the Batman TV show from the 70s. And so Batman was always kind of a campy, humorous character. So when they started the advertising campaign for this movie, it was dark and it looked gritty. You know, those two words that we're bombarded with now. And everybody's like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is not Batman. But all the kids who read comic books were like, that is Batman. That's the Batman we know and we've been reading about for fucking years. So when the movie came out, it really changed the way people saw Batman. And it's funny because when I was watching it, I just watched it today. I was like, wow, there were so many people that for the first time found out how like that Batman's parents were killed. Now it's almost a meme. Now Batman's parents being killed is like, it's a punchline. Like we know, all right, his fucking parents, like Uncle Ben, like, oh my God, all right, he dies. Like, let's get past that. And so, but like in 89, we went and saw that. We're like, oh shit, like his parents were killed. Like that was like, it was like deep. It was like, wow, like that's how, like the only other superhero most people knew was Superman, who came from space and was like the perfect guy. And this guy wears a black suit and he's bitter because his parents were killed. Like it's a whole different kind of different kind of mindset. And to that point, this movie really acted, and you know, you made a good point, Dave, in saying that this was like this was like not, almost, I don't know if I'd say a test case, but it was almost like an alpha subject for superhero movies. Yeah. But I think more than that, this was like the transition from the Burt Ward TV shows to the Batman movies we ended up getting later on. Like you couldn't have gone from Burt Ward to Christopher Nolan. That would have, people's minds would have melted. Like people needed to get an idea that like, oh, Batman isn't just this guy with, you know, going down a bat pole and the bat signal spinning around and, you know, pow and bam. and that's sort of what this movie did. And I almost think it was the tone was right in that it feels cartoony at times, but it has a bit of realism to it. And the feeling works in this kind of like, you know, it's sort of this anachronistic time period. Like, is it the 80s? Is it the 40s? Like, when is this taking place? Like, with what was the doofy reporter's name? Knox. At one point, Knox is wearing those things around his sleeves that guys wore in the 30s. And I was like, when is this fucking taking place? Could we see a date on a newspaper or something?
And the hat that said press, press on the side too, like Fozzie Bear back in the Muppet Show.
That's what I was saying about the classic noir. Like they were going for that,
right? And so it kind of got there. But here's the thing about the movie: it's drags. In the beginning, I was like, oh, this movie's really tight. It doesn't. And then 15 minutes in, I was like, oof, this is getting tough. And the problem is, this was
15 minutes in, you know, that's a problem.
Yeah. And but you know what? Like it starts so good. It starts, and I forgot, and it fooled me because I was like, oh my God, I forgot that it starts with Bruce Wayne's parents being killed because I thought that was the scene, and it wasn't. And it's a play on your memory. And that whole scene was great. Other than when he swoops down, it's like he swoops down and like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that doesn't even make sense in any like strategic sense of the word. But the movie starts to drag. And part of the reason it drags so badly is because this is ostensibly supposed to be an action movie. And the action in this movie is terrible. Like the fight scenes are horrible because Michael Keaton is wearing a 90-pound rubber suit that's almost impossible to move in. He can't turn his neck. He can't really fully punch. And so the fight scenes are like him, like just shoving someone in the chest and the guy flies away. Once in a while, he gets a kick. There's like one or two fights where it's like, oh, he's trading blow. Oh no, he just kicked him. He's over. Like, so the Batman, it's watching him fight is really tough. And I would love, and I'm sure somebody did this on YouTube, to do a side-by-side of like one of the better fights in this movie compared to Ben Affleck's fight in the warehouse in Batman vs Superman, because that was the only good scene in the movie. But that scene is fucking bananas. Yep. It's such a great fight scene, and to see how far it came, like, and I mean, they weren't even doing fight scenes like that back then in any action movies. But there's so little action in it, and everything feels like it. And again, it might be just because it's from the 80s, you know, in 89, but everything feels like it wouldn't work today. Like, I think this Batmobile is one of the coolest looking Batmobiles It's it's the archetype Batmobile. But watching it ride along the road when I just watched it tonight, I was like, that thing wouldn't fucking work. Like, why would you make a car like that? It's long and heavy. It couldn't turn.
The giant wings.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous. Like,
well, no, you got the grappling hook that you can shoot to the bridge.
Yeah. If there happens to be a light pole right in the right spot, you can maybe corner.
I bet Batman can drift like a motherfucker. So let's not sell him short.
I hope so, because that's all that thing could do is just slide to the right.
Grapple drift, the movie.
And that's also why in the Pattinson Batman it was such a great Batmobile, because it's a muscle car. It's just a souped up muscle car, and it makes sense as a car that you could actually partake in a pursuit or something like that. The performances in this, I think Nicholson is amazing as Joker, as the Joker that he was supposed to be. I think he's amazing. I think Michael Keaton is great as Bruce Wayne. I think he's great as you feel that he's like kind of this reluctant hero who almost wants to have a normal life, but he can't, and he's just resigned himself to being this superhero. The real weakness in this movie.
Here we go.
And this takes me back to our discussion about American Pie. The fucking romance in this. I don't give a shit about Batman and Vicki Vale. I don't give a shit about her. I don't care about her. They didn't have any chemistry. They didn't make me care about what she was doing, or it was just like, Batman need woman, blah. Here, go, good, protect.
Yes.
And it's so bad. And every time she's in this, they have a scene together, the movie's just, it's like, it's like, I don't care. I don't care that they slept together and he hangs upside down because he's a bat, get it? And just every time they're in the only time he's on the screen, and it's it was sort of entertaining in the museum, as ridiculous as that scene is. At least it was like, oh, she's in danger, he comes, rescues her. Like, I get it's kind of comes full circle. But that storyline, the two of them, eats up like probably 35 minutes of this movie, 40 minutes of this movie. This movie could have been an hour and 20 minutes if you just got rid of that horseshit storyline that we didn't need. I feel like they were just like, look, well, all right, fine, we're gonna make a Batman movie, but there needs to be some romance in it, because the dames aren't gonna like a Batman. Like, we need something for the ladies, and they like the smooching, so make that happen.
But I gotta know, are we gonna try to love each other? What fuckery.
So this movie for me is like a Model T. Like Model T, like you see a Model T driving down the road and you're like, wow, that was a fucking accomplishment. Like, that's amazing that they made that. And then you look at the car you're in and it evolved into this. Like, that's fantastic. Would I want to drive a Model T? Fuck no. Would I want to own one? Probably not. And that's how I feel about this movie. It was an amazing accomplishment. It has a huge historic value. It'll always mean something to me, but I'll probably never want to watch this movie again. And that hurts to say. There's no rewatchability in this movie. There's no scene where I'm like, oh, that one scene where it's so cool, like maybe the beginning scene, but there's just not a lot there beyond the nostalgia and the significance of the movie for what it did, decades down the road for where we are with superhero movies now. And it sucks. And I have to say, Kev, and I've been debating whether or not to say this, but I think Batman Returns is better than this. I know. I think Batman Returns, the action is a little better. I think it's a little more entertaining. It felt a little faster paced. The romance in it makes sense. Like, there was some chemistry between him and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Very much so.
I think it worked a little better. It's a ridiculous movie, but this movie is ridiculous and slow. So I think Batman Returns, while disappointing, was possibly better than this movie.
Yeah, you're like bored
for
me,
me,
and then the way they pick up the action is they have Nicholson do a dance scene in the museum.
Right.
I would say that the quotes in this, the original Batman have stood the test of time more than the actual movie has. Like, the quotes have.
It's got
the writing is like
better.
the writing's all over the place. Like the quotes, it's almost like when you're I don't know if you guys are like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings fans, where you'll hear a line of dialogue that comes straight from the page. That's almost like what this felt like, where like they were borrowing from like Burton or whoever was writing it, got like there was like maybe 20 really great lines of dialogue, and then the rest they didn't know how to put it together.
Yep, I agree. So for me, I totally agree with Ben. It's a 5.5, and I'd say a good 1.5 of that is just nostalgia and the value of the movie.
Can't rate on nostalgia in this podcast. You know that.
We're almost friends now because we destroyed Ghostbusters, but agreed.
You're still dickheads because of Ghostbusters. Don't fucking feel good about yourself.
I love you guys for doing Ghostbusters. That I'm so on side with you on that. It's good. I liked it.
They even admitted that they liked it. Go fuck themselves.
No.
I'll show you behind the curtain. Here's how the sausage is made.
Or in our case, how the fudge is packed. Waka, waka, waka.
Waka, waka.
All right, Kevin Israel, I want you to tell these fine folks at Blockbuster Mentality just how awesome Athletic Greens is and why.
Athletic Greens is fantastic. It's a full nutrition drink. It kicks off the morning. It's got all your essential vitamins and minerals. And unlike most drinks like this, it's not chalky. It's not disgusting. It's smooth. It's a great way to kick off your day. Cold glass of water. As soon as I wake up, I down it. And you know what? And it's a great substitute for my morning cup of coffee. I feel energized and I feel ready to go.
What does
They're
it
all
like?
taste. Believe it or not, it tastes. I don't know what it tastes like. It's green, but it doesn't. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, it's hard to describe.
So good, I don't even know.
It's unartificially flavored. It's not like sweetened or anything. Like it's like strawberry. It doesn't taste like banana or chocolate. It has its own distinct taste.
It tastes healthy.
It does.
It tastes healthy. I mean, it's not like a glass of Coke. Like you're not like, oh my god, like let me have 9 of these. It's good for what it is. And drinking it, as soon as you drink it, you're not like disgusted, and you're like, oh, I just drank something healthy.
I mean, it supports mental clarity and alertness. And listen, it costs you less than $3 a day, cheaper than coffee. Okay,
that's a good deal.
Hell, you're right. It is. You're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance. Has over 7,000 5-star reviews, and they are a very charitable organization. They gave over 1.2 million meals to kids in 2020. It's a small micro habit with big habits. You're gonna get. It's vegan, it's paleo, it's keto, dairy-free, gluten-free, all that stuff. No GMOs, no nasty chemicals. Like Kevin Israel says, you pour it in your water, you mix it up, boom. It's delicious, and it helps your body. It's all in one mixture. The best part about... Go ahead.
What if I was interested in getting this kind of nutritional insurance?
How can I do it? Ad, dude.
He's teeing up a 2-0 fastball, and here it comes, baby. You go to athleticgreens.com/GTSC for gutting the sacred cow. You get a year supply, goddammit, a year supply, Dave, of vitamin D packets and 5 free travel packs. athleticgreens.com/GTSC. You get all that free stuff. It's a scoop in 1 cup of water, every day, and bang, you're just investing in yourself. athleticgreens.com/GTSC.
Fantastic.
Is it okay that I drank beer during that ad read?
I had whiskey during my ad read, so sure.
Can you put your Athletic Greens in your beer or your whiskey? That maybe you get like counteract.
Sure, you can mainline it. You can mainline it for all I give a shit. As long as you go to athleticgreens.com/GTSC. Boof it for all we care. Not that we advise you to do that, but
boof it. For the shot.
Notes. The trailers for this film were fucking amazing. You thought you were hyped up for Christmas. 12-year-old Kevin Goatee saw this and was immediately counting the days down, not to Christmas, but to June 23rd. Ironically, my sister Jill's 6th birthday. And boy, did I push my parents to go see Batman opening day, and I couldn't because it's my sister's birthday. I work in New York City, and I've never, ever, ever seen someone push someone out of the way to take a cab. That doesn't happen. We're assholes in this town, but no one does that. I'm sorry. Not at least without a gun in your face. Hookers are not known for morals, but hitting on a 13-year-old boy with his parents in tow is pretty reprehensible in my book. At least
you know what's funny now? Sorry, Kev. When I watch these movies now, I'm like, Kev's gonna point that out. Kev's gonna point that out. And the minute she was like, "Hey, baby," I was like, Goatee definitely wrote that down.
At least make the blowjob motion to the dad and the pussy-looking motion to the mom. But leave the 13-year-old boy out of this.
Yeah, leave him.
Well, the kid was kind of a dick, though. He's like, "The dad, do you even know where you're going?" He's like, "I know. This is 7th. I know where I am."
The dad didn't know where he was going. The boy knew where he was going. The dad's clearly trying to be like, I'm the leader of this family. You're going the wrong way, asshole. The kid has a map. I'd defer to the kid.
Accidentally leading them into the red light district.
Yeah. Dad, we make a right past Crack Rock Boulevard, and Coos Juice Lane is 3 doors down from there. I said it before, and we've done how many Batman films in this episode, Kevin Israel? Batman Returns, all three of the Nolans, Batman, Superman. This is our 6th Batman film. Shit, this is probably it then, right? Yeah, no one else is going to qualify.
No,
you got a question?
Yeah, I gotta ask. The Dark Knight. How did that go?
You need to listen because I don't want to ruin the surprise that happened.
Wow.
I'm not trying to hype it up for marketing promoting reasons. You have to listen to that just for
who was the guest?
I forgot his name.
Awkward.
Yeah, nice guy. Go listen.
I'll check that one out.
Yeah, listen, especially for the score. I said before, with 6 episodes of Batman films in this fine podcast, no one has learned to shoot Batman in the goddamn face yet. No one. We haven't learned that lesson. We're aiming for the chest, everywhere else but the fucking face. Really. 6 films. No one. Okay. I like Keaton's subtle Batman voice is much better than Braille's hockey pants by a landslide.
That'll give you.
Why have Harvey Dent in this if we're not even teasing Two-Face? Yeah. This was if we go out for another date and have a dinner, maybe you'll get a blowjob. Don't do this to me. Just give me something with Two-Face. Don't have fucking Harvey Two-Face just go, we're going to take down crime. And then Billy D. Williams can't even drop it works every time line in there for Colt 45. No, can't even get that. Missed opportunity, Tim Burton. Shame on you.
Was he in Returns?
No. Hey, there's my Facebook friend, Robert Wall. Yes, I am Facebook friends with Robert Wall. He is a fantastic person to talk about baseball with. So I advise you, friend Robert Wall. And especially when you talk about Arliss, he loves that. If Batman,
if I could,
you may. Go ahead. Yeah, jump in. Go ahead. What's up?
What's crazy is that Billy D. Williams actually really worked in this movie for the small bit that he was in it.
Very much so.
I've seen them doing something with that character. He seemed, I don't know. It's just the way
I'm pretty sure they planned on it. I think they expected him to be there.
It didn't make the 5 fun facts. See, they had him lined up for 2, and then it just. I think I have it in here later on. I may have. If I do, I'll revisit. If anything, Batman reminds us that even wearing cartoonishly large eyeglasses, Kim Basinger was a fucking smoke show in the 80s. Man, what a showstopper.
Yeah, good stuff.
I always laugh when Knox gives Alfred the Butler $1 for the champagne at the party. He's such like lower middle class. Like, oh, that's cute. He thinks he.
I wonder if Kim Basinger would have been cast if Alec Baldwin would have been cast. Were they married then?
I believe they were or about to be. Oh wait, I think it might. Well, no, they got married because they did The Getaway together. Another reboot. I think Getaway's 91. Someone can look that up and clarify, but I think it's right around there. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Cool.
No, I'm not motivated.
This is one film I said before, Kevin Israel. What makes a film besides characters sometimes? The score. This score is a top 10 score of all time. Danny Elfman is right below Hans Zimmer and right, of course, below the Godfather, of them all, John Williams. This score, as well as Batman Returns score, is monumental in this franchise. When Elliot Goldenthal does it for 3 and 4, it is a considerable drop-off.
Yep, great point on the score.
That is one thing I wanted to commend this movie on was the score.
And I own the score for this, actually not Returns, just for this. The mayor in this film looks like Ed Koch. Fantastic casting because
I thought it was.
At the time, I did too. Fantastic casting because he was mayor of New York at the time.
Yep.
Bruce Wayne, the gambler, throwing dice in his own house. The real gambling would be not wearing a condom for all the ladies that he beds. That is truly the lottery ticket for all ladies, right? Getting knocked up by him.
Hey, KG.
Yeah, buddy.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Do you ever because these are total just material you're working off of? Do you ever use these in your stand-up?
No, because who's going to want to hear Batman 89 jokes?
I mean, if you work it in.
Yeah. No, something.
That's a really good joke. I'm gonna use that in my stand-up.
The problem though is some things are not evergreen. A lot of this stuff I think is things do. Some comparisons I can make that are still topical. I think or ubiquitous for certain films I can do. But but that's a compliment. I'll take that, Ron. Thank you.
Good question, Ben.
That's a fair question. Lieutenant Eckhart, boy, he sounds like he's had a pack of Marlboro Reds, a fifth of gin, and a divorce all before noon.
Yeah, he's like, it's just this blob.
Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to mention. I think the ADR in this movie was terrible, at least for him, because you can tell he went back and re-recorded his lines because he must have been mumbling too much or something. Right. But you can tell that is totally dubbed over.
Where you been spending your nights? Why are all of Napier's men dressed like 1920s gangsters, like Edward G. Robinson? Yeah, see, you're gonna go in there and steal the secrets from the trade. Yeah, see.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a movie.
It goes back to the noir thing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a movie without time or reality.
Here's my biggest that doesn't happen. How does Batman shooting a grappling hook into one guy's chest and he hangs from the railing? How does that grappling hook not go through his chest? That doesn't happen.
Wait.
It just pierces his suit jacket. That's it. Get the fuck out.
You said it, and I didn't want to say anything, but the scene in the museum where he has the double dong thing.
This is not Requiem for a Dream, Kevin Israel. This is Batman 1989.
However, if you think of how that thing worked, there's no way they would have gotten out of the building with it, because the thing itself was attached to the two ropes that slammed into the wall,
right? And
then he slid along it, and sooner or later he's going to hit the wall, and his thing is still attached to it. It always bothered me that, like, all right, I'll suspend disbelief, but that somebody had to be like, this won't work, and he's like, just fuck it, just do it, just do it.
That would have made the nitpick list, I think, Ben.
Yeah, sorry.
If I am a cop in that chemical plant during the shootout and I see green goo spewing all over the place, I am out of there. Did they not see Emil die in RoboCop, where he became the Toxic Avenger after he crashed through that vat of chemicals?
Oh my God! Yeah,
we just did that. We just did that movie with Anders Holm.
Yeah.
We are taping that next week. Someone hates RoboCop.
That.
Man,
can't wait to rewatch it.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Movie's great.
The plot line of the Joker falling into the vat of chemicals is complete nonsensical horseshit. I hated that. I hate it still, and I always will hate that. That is the way. I like how the Joker. They understood there's a framework within the comic book. Excuse me. He goes nuts. He's a comic. He does this. He does that. As long as he does, A, B, and C in a pretty tight time traveling fashion, not time traveling, but in a time-wise fashion, I'm fine. This went from fuck you boulevard to up your asshole lane with he kills his parents, then he drops him in the vat, and then he becomes a Joker because the chemicals. No, stop it. That is a blatant fuck you to Bob Kane. Yeah, I did not like them fucking the source material over that much. Those are egregious liberal creative moves that they made that I despise. No thank you.
KI, do you know? I forget. Did Dark Knight Returns comic come out before this or after this? Not that it has really much to do with.
I think Killing Joke would have been a better one to pick, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Dark Knight Returns, the comic, I want to say came out in the 80s, right?
I think it was late. I think it was before this.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, just curious.
I mean, no one could say it better than where we go from Go Fuck Yourself Court to
I forgot. This is
Rape Your Dad Lane.
Yeah.
Where did we go?
That's is that Angelina Jolie's address? Okay.
There's no way. It's just, I mean,
Dark Knight Returns comic came out in '86. Sorry, go ahead.
So
Dave.
before,
yeah, but just, you're making this film, and I don't know what the thought process is here, but it just makes no sense. There is no universe where this occurs.
I'm sorry, I didn't yield the floor. Just kidding.
Dave, he's still talking. Come on.
I'm fucking with it. Why the hell would Bruce Wayne sit at a long ass table far away from Vicki Vale? Didn't he learn anything from Mystery the Pickup Artist? You have to be close to each other. Proximity. If the Joker is such a high-end, well-dressed gangster, why is he going to a back alley abortion clinic doctor for plastic surgery? He can do better than he can do better than Groupon. That's my point.
Some basement.
Yeah. One of my biggest problems, and one of you fuckers took this from me. I'm very angry. It might have been you, Israel. Just because Michael Keaton is Batman doesn't mean he has to sleep like a bat.
Yeah.
He didn't grow up sleeping upside down. There's no need to do that as an adult. And he does that after banging Kim Basinger. I mean, Jesus Christ. He's doing everything in his power to creep her out besides saying that he loves her and then going through her purse afterwards. What the fuck is going on?
He's doing whatever the vigilante version is of method acting.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. I'm a bat.
Thanks, Jared Leto. Before
Right.
Jared Leto. Between Joker and Boss Grissom, there is just way too much heavy breathing in this for my liking. Webcam girls have heard less heavy breathing in this film than they have in their $1.99 per minute endeavors.
God.
Another scientific question I pose to the boys. How does the Joker not electrocute himself with that joy buzzer?
Science.
I almost
Science, yo.
It's like the you can buy those gag things. The person gets buzzed, but you don't. You know, like
it's so funny. Like all of these things, like I kind of noted down. They like tallied up to the point where what I saw. I'm gonna bring, it'd be like the list gets so high that,
Right.
Sleeping like a bat. What is the buzzer? Like what the?
Wait, and how does that buzz? And there's no way in hell that buzzer has enough voltage in it to crisp that guy off in 10 seconds. He's a charred corpse in 10 seconds from what does he have? The goddamn flux capacitor behind him charged up to that fucking buzzer? Stop it. Bruce Wayne is the only guy I know who likes to stand up during gunfire. He's like watching Wonder Woman cross no man's land, except he doesn't have bulletproof bracelets or the grace of a bulimic like she does.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm. So the Joker has a punching bag contraption rigged up not once, but twice at the TV. So the time it took the Joker to whip this up in the old Joker lab so he could eventually destroy TVs when he saw something he didn't like. So my question, you better have at least 5 of these, right? 5 lined up when he watches the next Amy Schumer stand-up special, right? At least 5?
Yeah,
at least yes.
Those 2 news anchors look like they have massive colds, not lack of makeup. Which is it?
Yeah.
That looks like me next week when the pollen really comes out in full force as I'm jacked up on Allegra and Alivert like I am now.
I'm there already.
Are you? I'm getting.
Oh my God, I'm a mess.
I feel the tingle already. Like that's why I started popping.
Disaster.
We get it a little bit earlier than you guys, and yeah, it was miserable for me this year.
All the Joker's crew is ruining artwork all around the museum, except for Bob, who's taking notes of the damage that they are inflicting. Is this info going to the Joker's card catalog of mayhem? What is the point of that? I have a lot of notes here. A lot of notes, guys. This is by far the best Batmobile. I don't give a shit what you say. Machine guns, missiles. What's better than this Batmobile? Not the one in Dark Knight. Not the one in Dark Knight Rises. Not the one in The Batman, which is a glorified fucking afterburner on a car. Big fucking deal. This is the second best vehicle in movie history next to the Millennium Falcon.
I think it's fucking awesome. I just know that it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work, yes, but
yeah, I like the shield aspect too, where
the
closes
design of it, yes, I think is beautiful.
The Batmobile chase street fight scene is fun. Despite Batman not getting a permission slip to pull the film from her titties at the end of fighting. That wasn't well for this era. Kidding. My question though is this: during that fight, why did he have to get out of the Batmobile to fight everyone and then get back in? The safest place is the Batmobile, which takes gunfire, instead of not getting the fights. I hit it.
Because Batman doesn't kill.
Yeah, right. But he didn't have to. He could have stayed in the Batmobile and just sat there and like, all right, I'm just going to keep driving. Look, he's not getting in the fights with guys who tried out for the Street Fighter movie. By the way, speaking of, who is the assholes doing? Oh, that's actually, I'll save that one for later. I'll take that back. Alfred throws the whole goddamn operation in jeopardy by inviting Vicki Vale to the Batcave. Alfred is someone who would never, ever be invited on a trip to Vegas. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne has a custom designed car, a custom designed suit, and a custom designed jet that gets shot down with one singular bullet. Did he outsource the Batjet to the same group who designed the Fire Festival? Are you fucking kidding me? One shot done? Was he Ronnie from the Jersey Shore? Deep callback. We barely get to see the Batjet's capabilities. I was fucking psyched to see the Batjet.
Yeah.
Like, yes! Batmobile, check success. And then 3 seconds of that. And then he has to fly up to the moon and do the little bat signal. Cute and hacky as shit. The final scene in the church drags a lot. Call this German efficiency, which I seem to have a lot of. Why would you climb up 48 flights of stairs when you can save your legs and use that cute little grappling hook you've used twice already in this film? You'd be up there in 15 to 30 seconds flat.
Speaking of dragging, while working my day job and watching this film, I was playing Madden during the scene because it drugged so much.
And now here you are. Even if I could do a handspring, let alone 8 like that guy did in the Belfry, I don't think I would do them right before getting into a fight because that kind of tires you out, like watching this does. So
Incredibly stupid.
The Joker has a laughing bag on him we don't hear until he falls 200 feet plus down to the ground and is not reduced to a puddle of plasma. Okay, got it. Keaton is solid. Nicholson is good, but obviously a little over the top. But this beautiful home, as I remember it, now has a termite problem. I hated how they pissed on the source material. I hated the Joker being thrown in the vat of chemicals. And now, boys, I've never done this in this podcast. I'm going to give a Kevin Goatee one-man show. You ready? This is 45-year-old Kevin talking to 12-year-old Kevin. All right, young buck, listen up. I'm going to let you in on a few things. You haven't seen a Yankees World Series yet, but when you reach my age, you're going to see 5. You're going to see the Giants win 2 more Super Bowls against the Patriots. Yes, that team that always finishes last in the AFC East. I know, a little hard to believe. Yes, you're even going to see the Rangers win a Stanley Cup. By the way, pussy really is delightful. And you'll hit your streak, but not until your late teens, early 20s. So we'll talk about that later. And stop, by the way, stop saying funny shit to women in front of your friends. It doesn't work out. It's going to backfire a lot more often than it does good. So quiet. So here's the deal. Batman, we saw it 3 times in the theater, right? Fucking loved it. All right. In a few years, they're going to make a sequel with the Penguin and Catwoman. Pretty badass, right? I know this is your favorite film for a long, long time. Remember the old Batmobile poster and the Joker poster you had hanging in your room? Remember the Batman t-shirt you had that you wore nonstop? You're going to watch this movie over and over until that VCR tape is almost disintegrated. You're going to watch it again a few years later when you're older, and you'll go, you know what? There's a couple warts. Then you'll watch it again and go, okay, still amusing. Then you're going to start an amazing podcast that's tearing the world up by storm and having to sift through a bunch of shitty other movie podcasts, but people will recognize your greatness. I can't say without laughing at a dick. Okay. What's a podcast? What's a podcast, older Kevin? Hold on. Let me explain how the internet works to you, and you'll never have to watch scrambled porn again on channel 95. I promise you. Now, so you watch Batman for this podcast, and you realize the same thing that when you had to rewatch the Batman sequel 2 years ago for this podcast. It doesn't hold up as well as you remember it. But good news, they're going to do a reboot when you're in your late 20s. And guess what? It's glorious. A reboot, another discussion for another time. We'll talk about that later. Batman is better slightly than Returns, but it shatters me to say this is not the 10 that I gave it when I remember it. It's now a 6. It pained me so hard to say that after all. And again, we don't judge for nostalgia, and I knew that, Kevin, when we did Batman Returns, I go, this does not bode well for 89. I knew this was going to happen, and I was right. So we got a 6, we got a 5, we got 2 5.5s, and Ben, what do you have?
I did 5.5.
I was a 6.
Yeah. So we have 2 6s, 2 5.5s.
Wow, we are fucking dead nuts on each other.
Yeah, the better halves of each podcast gave it a 5.5.
Didn't need to be said, but it was. I'm glad it was.
No, yeah, you know, was that cathartic for you, KG?
Listen, the two of you can have a hell of a time in the Vince Lombardi rest stop, tapping toes in the stalls, while Dave and I have a fun old time at the bar chatting about horse shit. Critics 5-star reviews.
I'm just glad I'm not the toe tapper.
Yeah.
Or are you?
Maybe. We'll see.
Like Gotham City, Batman is a little rough at times, but Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson's wonderfully weird performances and Tim Burton's unique vision for this DC universe mean it deserves to be remembered as a classic. By the way, these are all recent reviews, so I'm not going back into the annals.
What are you looking on? Rotten Tomatoes or
Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes. The theatrical release of Batman celebrates 30 years this year and holds up for being the product of its era with regards to cinematic entertainment. It is unfortunately awfully difficult to revisit Tim Burton's Batman with an impartial eye. I know. Here comes the left-handed compliment, fellas. With an impartial eye in the wake of Christopher Nolan's genre-defining Dark Knight trilogy. Highly recommend it for fans, even for fans who think Batman begins and ends with Nolan's trilogy. Michael Keaton makes a credible hero, and Jack Nicholson is downright manic as his nemesis. Critics 1-star reviews. This might have been a fresh film if someone had bothered to hire a writer capable of creating fresh, intelligent dialogue.
Yep.
Sounds like they're rubbing another man's rhubarb. I don't get the appeal, to be honest. Other than its prescience as a pop culture milestone, this won't go down as one of the best superhero movies, nor is it even one of the best in the Batman cinematic canon. Other than its prescience, I'm sorry, ready. I got to copy and paste it in one twice. A void of underdeveloped style and half-hearted execution. Okay, Kevin Israel, cue it up for Blowhard 101. Supposedly a superhero movie for grown-ups, this is actually a pretentious Farrago. I think this writer's a big Farrago. How about you guys?
Go fuck yourself. That's
right.
Not a word.
I know. I was just about to say, what the hell does Farrago mean?
Right.
It means
You know what,
Farrago,
actually-
fuck yourself.
Is that your take of Argo fuck yourself?
I think there's maybe something to the kind of the stuff we were talking about with the script and all that. You know what it popped into my mind of George Lucas making the prequel trilogies, really focusing on the atmosphere and the set design and sort of how everything else worked except for the story and the dialogue
and the characters
and the action.
Yeah, fair.
And the whole movie. Yeah.
Amazon 5-star reviews. I like this movie. It was part of my research for my Halloween costume, and this guy put 3 pictures of him in costume on his review.
You need to post those on Twitter.
God.
That needs to go on.
I do? Okay, I'll have to find that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he dressed as? Batman or Joker?
The Joker. He was the
Fucking
Joker.
Catwoman. What do you think he was dressed as?
He was dressed as Bob, his number 1 henchman.
Well, it's either Joker or Batman, so that's why I asked. All
I'm going
right.
with Boombox guy.
Boombox. He was dressed as the mobster who took the pen in the neck. That's who he was.
Well, if he's white, I hope he wasn't dressed as Billy D. Williams.
Oh, that'd be great. We can only hope. Watching it on a Blu-ray is like watching the movie for the first time. There are all sorts of details, colors, scenes where I just did not recall or pick up on those subtleties from VHS years ago, nor on the TV broadcast. It helped I watched it on a 65-inch Panasonic Plasma, and since it is a dark movie, the blacks/contrasts were nicely displayed.
So this was a review.
So come over to my house. I got
wasn't
a big
reviewing the
TV.
movie.
65-inch plasma, bro. Are you going through foreclosure? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
You buy that in 2009?
The movie is a 5-star. I always thought this movie was entertaining, have seen it over 10 times, and would still watch it again. All right, I have to take a deep breath for these next two. Like Ace Ventura. The best classic film of Batman well before the 1990s when TV went downhill. The movie's dark and campy, and Jack Nicholson plays Imho, the best Joker other than the animated series where it's Mark Hamill. The plot is solid for the first entry of what can call the best before it's ruined, and the DC curse of movies takes place. Dark and gritty like you would expect, and all around good fun. Highly recommend this in any format, all versions, and Blu-ray up conversion. Looks great, plus the digital version isn't bad all either. There were 3 commas. No, 3 commas, no periods. Yeah. I would love to see this guy. I want to pay to see this guy do the Gettysburg Address. How about you fellas?
Speaking of which, how about the animated thing at the very beginning?
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I was like, that was they couldn't have figured out a way to make it actually
right. Like it's an overhead shot of him walking away. Like you see, just a cartoon Batman looking over a balcony and then walking back. And it's totally
They're like, we can't make his cape do that thing. We can't do. I don't know what to do.
I thought you were talking about the logo, how it was going in and out with the camera during the credits. I'm like, what was longer, that or the opening to fucking 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yeah. Well, I loved that movie, so don't.
Oh, someone just hit the old trigger.
Kick him off. Well, that's it.
Even this will turn. No, this will be murder. That's our sacred cow.
You love that film?
I absolutely love that film. I think it's one of the best.
Well, guys, as a first and last, you'll be hearing these guys. That's for sure.
See you guys.
I mean, I'm okay.
He's okay. Yeah, fuck you. I'm going to a place of glory. That film sucks. While Burton's first Batman film, Batman has obvious Burton touches, odd and disturbing characters, dark tone, neo-noirish look, the film manages to be generally accessible to the mass audience. It moves at a fast, breezy pace and has an epic Hollywood feel to it with a satisfying conclusion. But in that case, it is not a bad thing. I have rewatched this entertaining flick so many times, it isn't funny. It just works. Can't say that for many of the superhero films in this new PC, uninspired generation of films. Keaton captures the guarded loneliness of Bruce Wayne, the Bruce Wayne character, while still being convincing as a tough guy who can hold his own while donning the cape and cowl. Mr. Burton, you made the right choice. And I'd like to take this moment to say, Joel Schumacher, you made the wrong choice with Val Kilmer. Thank you.
What a strange review. I mean, this guy's really invested.
Also a shot at me because I like Val Kilmer. What did you think of did you guys see the Val Kilmer documentary, the most recent one?
Yes.
Can't talk.
Yes.
Did not.
It's I learned that he loves turquoise necklaces and jewelry.
Well, he needs to cover up that,
trach hole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? I didn't see this.
He can't even talk, or he can talk, but it's like very.
I cannot wait to see him in Top Gun 2. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah. I don't like you because you're dangerous. Amazon 5-star reviews.
Man, how many reviews do you do?
Well, we do. All of them. Kevin Israel, we're gonna lead off with your favorite. 5 stars for the movie. 1 star for Amazon to charge us to watch an old
$3.99.
Especially when I have Prime. I was an okay. I liked it better when it came out years ago. That's like saying I love this steak dinner. Best ever. 3 stars. Batman Returns is a lot better.
Israel says so as he's blowing his nose.
I don't remember the last time I saw Batman Returns, actually.
Like me either. I remember last time I saw the Kilmer one.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
The next one, Buttman.
Yeah. That's the guy I want to hear from.
Is this the guy looking for the gay porno version, or is that Ben Affleck's Tinder handle? Which one is it?
God.
Next one. This one is lengthy. Oh, do I want to read all of this? Jesus Christ. Okay, I may have to. Yeah, I'm going to. Okay. In this movie, Batman and Bruce Wayne don't even look like they could have the same person. As another reviewer pointed out, Wayne is a rather short, unattractive guy with a personality disorder. Also,
wait.
I think he's confused with the Penguin. How about you?
Personality disorder.
Also, what in the world happened to Robert? You won't ever hear about him in the movie. The Joker is played by, well, Jack Nicholson is way over the top. His pre-Joker persona is a mean guy with a huge ego and certainly amoral, but the similarity ends there. He later behaves with such perversion and cruelty than the original that so much I think the movie should have been R-rated. Kids under the age of 16 should not be seeing the gory things he does to people for fun. Speaking of kids, there are many PG-13 movies that is okay to show to 10-year-olds if you can caution them about the occasional bad guy, language, or immodesty. Not this movie. Don't even think of showing it to a preteen. Not only is there a fair amount of bad language that is unnecessary, and the specter of Batman's sudden descent into a casual sexual relationship, even with a beautiful girl, it is still embarrassing.
Oh,
You know,
God.
this review is so bad, I might need to change my opinion of the movie. Say I love it.
The original Batman might have fallen in love and kissed with a beautiful woman, but he's also a gentleman and would not have slept with her on the very first date, at least if kids might have not found out about it, and then hung from the ceiling for a bit before moving to the sofa during the night, and then walked out on her for a funerary rite. Bizarre and troubling behavior, to say the least. I am very sorry I bought this DVD, even though it was dirt cheap. I'm going to be a lot more careful about Amazon reviews from now on. If you're looking for a good movie, comic book movie, hero movie, get Superman instead. It is a much better movie, especially for kids. Signed, Tony Danza. No. This movie is craptastic. This movie, yeah, he's the boss. This movie is craptastic. It is unbelievably poor acting and is completely sexist and violent. I guess that's the point, since it's based on a comic book, but geez, it's funny to see how far technology has come through and political correctness. It deserves an R rating, as in good conscience, I can't ever let my son watch it. The 80s sucked entirely, and this movie is an example of why. Sorry to you Batman fans, but Val does a better job, as does George.
Oh, come on. I mean, our rating for what?
Where's the
Are these
bad
reviewed
language?
by the Church of the Latter-day Saints? Like,
Yeah. Hey, Ken Jennings, get off your high fucking horse.
I mean,
He's a Mormon. Okay.
Guy, right?
He's a Mormon.
Like the opening of The Dark Knight, I could see someone saying, you know what, this is really kind of even though we don't see like a lot of gore, it's kind of an R scene. I can see that. There's nothing that rises to the level of that movie in this at all. It's, if anything, it really is for kids. I don't get it because like the lighting was dim.
Ready? People are dumb. Thank you.
Yeah.
Last one. I never read this book.
I never read it.
Oh, guys, if you are on the toilet for longer than 25 minutes, taking a shit while reading 1-star reviews is the way to spend your time.
Yep.
excuse me, Ms. Librarian. Do you have Batman? Where am I going to find? Is there a Batman section?
A book on that, Sonny? We'll go to the card catalog and look for yourself, you lazy
That's
piece of shit.
I wonder if anyone's ever said that about like Passion of the Christ. I never read the book.
It's long. Didn't read.
Yeah.
So, someone wanted to come on our podcast and do Passion of the Christ. I go, no.
That's it.
Kevin Israel, did the Blockbuster Mentality fellas come on here and gut that sacred cow again?
They'll debate whether they did the first time.
I was gonna
But
say,
I
wait,
can
what?
say, without a shadow of a doubt that the gentlemen were successful, in my opinion, this time.
Nice.
I will co-sign on that. I will also say, again, as we be fair, this movie also hung itself a little bit on its own entrails. It's fallen in guano as much to my chagrin as 12-year-old Kevin Goatee, and I'm sure 12-year-old Kevin Israel chagrin. This one hurts as much as Returns did for us. That was the first film that we did in this podcast. We're like, oh shit, this is gonna smart. And here we are. So
it was our pleasure.
Yeah, it was. And then again, boys, we love having you on. We enjoy our banter on Twitter. Thank you so much. Tell the folks what you're up to, where we can find you, all the good stuff.
Normal stuff going on over here. We have celebrity guests come on and dissect a film with us, and it's been a lot of fun. Got a couple of guests on the horizon. I've been lazy lately, in a little bit of a rut, but we're gonna have some big guests coming up soon, and you can find us at Blockbuster Cast on Twitter, Blockbuster Mentality on Instagram. Go to blockbustermentality.com. All three of those platforms, you can get updates on the show and when new episodes come out.
Yeah,
Sweet.
You can follow me at Dave_Quist, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's not really worth a follow.
Especially when he posts memes on his love for 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't know if that's worth the follow either.
Exactly.
Kevin Israel, where can we find you shitting on 2001: A Space Odyssey?
And being correct. KevinIsrael.com for upcoming comedy dates. The Struggle is Real is my comedy album. You can get it on iTunes and everywhere else you get downloadable shit. And more importantly, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick couple sentence review on your podcast platform of choice. KG takes time out of his very busy week to feature our favorite reviews, and we shout out some love for the love we get, and it means something to us because it means something to you. So let's just keep the good vibes going.
Guttingthesacredcow at gmail.com if you want to advertise with us or just to drop a line. We're now in the metaverse. So come check us out when you're done jerking off to VR porn in the joke community comedy room in the metaverse. You know it, Ben. That's how we do. KevinGoatee.com for all those shenanigans. And listen, thank you all for giving us an hour of your time. In this case, an hour and 45. Holy shit. A new and high for this podcast. Or a low.
My wife is going to kill me.
Same.
Well, I did you all a favor from
I've
Keaton
gotten a
from your
couple
wives.
angry texts.
Oh, you have you? Oh, good. This is new low and high. But it flew by. I will say that.
Tell her you'll be over soon.
We thank everybody for listening. We appreciate Blockbuster Mentality, fellas. Ben and Dave, thanks for hanging out with us again. We love hanging you out here. And Kevin's mouthing to his wife, I'll be there in a second, I promise.
Anytime, guys. We really appreciate you having us on, and we need to have you on our show again. But yeah, seriously, anytime you want us on again, just let us know.
Yeah, it'd be great to have you guys on to talk about something we like.
Yeah, we all like it. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, fellas.